Hi there from a beautiful night in Yardley, Pennsylvania. I can show you the sky here for a minute. It's prettier that way than when the light is focused on me. And my pups are over here hanging out. I think you can see them if I do that. There's one, there's another one. But the main reason I wanted to get your attention tonight was because I want to talk to you about a couple of things you can do as an entrepreneur to make your life really simple. And I'm going to compare it to Sunbasket, of all things, right? So Sunbasket is similar to Plated or Blue Plate and what's the other one? HelloFresh, where they send you a pre-packaged set of ingredients that are not necessarily all chopped up and ready to go, but they've got the right portions, they've got the right amounts, and they've got a very clear set of instructions that even a cooking novice like me can understand. And they don't make anything ambiguous, and they don't make anything complicated. And it hit me that there's an analogy? I always get those two mixed up here with finance and accounting. And I want to give you a couple of tips on how you can make sure you get your stuff pre-packaged to you in a way that all you have to do is one or two things as an entrepreneur and get that fantastic dinner of, in our case, finance is fun, or knowing and understanding where your cash is, or being able to forecast when you're going to need cash, when you're going to have excess cash, being able to play with and figure out, if I hire another person, what happens to my bank account? If I build another product, what happens to my bank account? That's the stuff that entrepreneurs really want to know. Just like I want to really know, how small do I have to chop this and how long do I have to cook it? That's all I want to know. I want to get a good dinner. You want to get some really good information so that you can be confident and clear about the finances of your business and not walk around with, actually, perfect, look at the gray skies there, right, hovering over my head. If your finances are like that, then you're not able to think clearly and move along and make the steps and the strides that you need to be making in your business. So like I said, I want to give you a couple of tips for how to make this stuff simple for you, even though it's still complicated underneath. It doesn't have to be for you. And the way to do this is to ask a couple things of your bookkeeper and your accountant. I'm going to give you 3 of those today. Okay, 3 things that I want to make sure you ask of your bookkeeper and accountant. And if you do this, you will begin at least having the first blocks in place to get some really good information in your hands that you can do something with to clear that sky up, give you some clarity and vision to be able to know, here's what's going to happen if I do A, B, C, and D. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one is it's all about cash. So the first thing you want to do to set up a good foundation to make sure you're getting what you need to know how much cash is in your bank account. And you need to know the things that affect your cash flow. And there is something that your bookkeeper, if they're doing their job correctly, can generate for you, and it's called a cash flow report. So step 1 I urge you to do is ask your bookkeeper for a cash flow report every month. And once you have that in your hands, have them explain to you exactly what each line on it means. What that gives you is an understanding of every single dollar that came into your business, every single dollar that went out of your business, and whether or not you made money or lost money. And you can really see a ton with that. And it also sets you up for a second piece, which I'll cover right now. And the second piece is, once you know about your cash, the next thing is forecasting. And what I would do is ask your bookkeeper to say, okay, you've been working with my books, you understand them now. What I want you to do now is, based on what you see, create a forecast for me. And this may or may not be your bookkeeping service that you've actually hired, right? So you may have to pay a little more to get this done for you. But the really cool thing about it is, now that you know and understand what cash you do have in your business, you've got the data sitting right there that your bookkeeper can manipulate, right? The sous chefs that put together my meal can manipulate what I need to put in the meal, right? And they can give you a really clear look into what your cash balance is going to be next week, next month, and next year, right? So that's thing number 2. The third thing that you can do kind of right away, so the first is have your bookkeeper send you the cash flow report and get an understanding of it at your level, in your language. The second thing is to ask the bookkeeper to now start using that data to give you some predictions into what's going to happen with your cash balance. And just as a note, side note, this is really, really important because in all of our businesses, there are times when we're going to have excess money and there are times when we're going to potentially need to borrow money or pay down credit cards or take some money out of the business to pay for our kids' college or whatever it might be. So it's really important, excuse me, to have the information about when cash is going to come in and out of your business for that reason, okay? And finally, the third thing has a little more to do with your tax accountant. If you don't have a tax accountant and you're making money, or if you have a tax accountant and all they're doing is filing your tax reports at the end of the year, you need to raise your hand and say, I need more than this. Because if you're making money in your business, the government's going to take a big chunk of it if it's not properly managed. And I'm not suggesting in any way that we shouldn't pay our taxes, right? I know there are plenty of people with opinions on that. I'm not going down that road for a second. But I will tell you that there are ways to legally and efficiently minimize the tax expense. In a lot of cases with a profitable business, quite frankly, think about it. Your tax bill could be the biggest expense you have in your business. Right? If you're $1 million business and you don't do anything about it, your tax bill could be $250,000. If you're a $10 million business, and I'm talking net income now, your tax bill could be $2.5 million, $3 million if it's not properly managed. So that first year that you kind of look around and go, holy cow, oh, forgive my ruffians. They're going a little crazy right now. Hang on, I'll let you see what goes on here. It's wrestling time. Whoa! Wow. That's how I'd wrestle my tax accountant down if I wasn't getting what I'm going to point out for you now. What you want to get from your tax accountant is a conversation in the beginning part of the summer, at the latest, and be able to say to him, now that you've got this forecast from your bookkeeper, be able to say to that tax accountant, hey, we need to start talking right now about what I can do to minimize my tax bill legally, but effectively minimize my tax bill so that I'm paying my fair share, no question, but that I'm not paying more than I should be, because the law is set up to make doing business profitable and not to eat up every single penny of profit that you make. And there are ways to make sure that you take advantage of that. If you're investing in growth, if you're investing in hiring people, if you're investing in yourself, if you're finally going to pay yourself a little bit of money out of that business, those are all things you want to talk to your tax accountant about. So here we're going to recap 1, 2, and 3. 1 is get your bookkeeper to give you the cash flow report. 2 is get your bookkeeper or hire somebody else to start doing some forecasting for you about that cash flow so you can know when you need to borrow money, when you can spend money to invest. And the third thing is be talking to your tax accountant good and early each year, especially if you're making money. So go get them. I'm going to go eat the dinner I just did that was a whole bunch of fun to make because somebody else did all the hard work. That's how your bookkeeping should serve you. Somebody else should do all the hard work. You should do the fun entrepreneur stuff. And that's hard enough work all by itself. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.